Whew, all right, we made it. Yeah, this is pretty spectacular in my opinion. I do get a little excited about soils, if you haven't noticed already, but this is just an amazing example here now that we've got this sheer face exposed from, again, we've got Holder Creek here, and you can see we have a little trickle of a creek now, basically a seep, and it's starting to even cut through this material, all this sediment. And you know, a lot of this material is just kind of, all that consolidated material has now become unconsolidated and is now a mishmash of sediments and glacial outwash here. Which, you know, if you can imagine over time, thousands of years ago, having different flood events and landslides, and you know, areas around streams are always kind of unstable and are going to have these type of slides and things like that. But this is just such a beautiful example of sediments being laid down over time and how you can get different types of sediments. You know, we're start down here at the bottom, and we've got this area at the deepest point here that we can see, where we've got sandy, not necessarily compacted glacial till here, but you've got different striations here of material. This one's got a lot more sand in it. You know, this could have been an old beach area at some point. And then you got this material here, which is practically clay. Here's some of it that's busted off, and even it has plates and sheets, comes off in sheets and plates and chunks. Like this one here just came out of this space here, and I can break some off. And even within, it's a good example, within this massive layer of sedimentary clay, you've got striations of different layers that have been laid down. You've got this kind of reddish layer here with striations in it, and then it gets kind of gray and then green and then back to red again, and then you get into this compacted glacial till material above it. But then below it, you've got this sandy material in here. Look at this. On this sandy material. And then boom, and it's just so horizontal. This is just, you know, so amazing. And then when it dries, it flakes off into these plates, and you can see, you know, this is clay-like material, but it's probably got a lot of silts in it. But if you can imagine on a micro scale, we've been talking about clay and having the octahedral and tetrahedral configurations and sheets. This is very similar, except it's on a larger scale. And so above this massive compacted sediment area we have that water is not going through, we have then 2 or 3 meters of compacted glacial till, and then we have another thinner band of this clay type material up above the till there, right? And so you know, you've got just all these different layers. And then if you can imagine, you don't even really have to imagine, because we have water percolating out of the side of this hill right now. And basically what it's doing is it's coming out of these layers coming out laterally. So the water's percolating down. You can see high up there, we got our roots and our trees and everything, and then we've got really sandy soil, a couple big rocks, and then it's a few meters, couple meters deep, and then boom, you hit this layer of clay, and then you've got this other material between that, you know, layer of clay, which is maybe about 8 inches thick or so, and then it comes down to this next layer of clay, which isn't as compacted, and it does have more sand in it. I can tell just kind of by looking at it's got more of a gritty texture, and then boom, into this glacial till, which just acts like cement and doesn't let any water through, even though it is, you know, somewhat sandy here. You know, this is like an old beach area where there was outwash maybe from flood events, and this was this sandy area here that isn't quite compacted yet, was probably more from alluvial flood than compacted glacial till at this rate, but below that is definitely been compacted by glaciers. And I believe also this consolidated outwash at some point in time had a glacier on top of it as well, and then another layer of clay above that. And you can see here the water's just dripping, hitting those layers and coming out laterally. And man, this is just a spectacular spot here to see. Again, you know, time, flood events, glacial impacts, old glacial lake sediments, old glacial lake, you know, beach front. You know, it's basically a look into the past, you know, thousands of years, not just 12,000. You know, we're talking, you know, hundreds of thousands of years for some of this lower material, I'm imagining. Again, I'm not a geologist, I'm a soil scientist. I need to ask some of my geology friends what they think about this, but you know, I'm giving you just kind of my basic observations of it, and that's what I'm seeing here. And I just had to get closer to it. The road noise is obviously less over here as well. You know, and if you can imagine too, it's not just on this side of the hill. Over there where they've reinforced that Highway 18, same kind of stuff laid down over there too. So you got this stability issue over there. We have similar slides on the Taylor Mountain side of things, which is across 18 now over there. And yeah, so this whole area in here, this Holder Creek drainage, which is coming down the south end of Tiger Mountain towards Maple Valley and Black Diamond, this type of material here, which you can imagine laid down by glaciers thousands of years ago, and now is starting to slough off, you know, mainly because we're in a stream bank. That has a lot to do with it, and it's just naturally unstable. So these type of things happen typically in stream banks, river banks, things like that. They are, you know, stochastic processes that are kind of random, but they exist, and they will keep going with or without human influence. So yeah, this is Holder Creek slide off of Highway 18, and I'm gonna see if I can't find an easier way back. I think I might just try and go across this Doug Fir here and up the hillside instead of trying to go back down the stream. That was a little crazy, but I hope you enjoyed this view of this stream bank cut as much as I did. It's pretty spectacular, pretty amazing piece of geologic history here. and soil processes going on.